My name is Danielle Reznicki, and I will be responding to Module 2. Describe the significance of the overrepresentation of students from diverse backgrounds in the category of emotional behavioral disorders. What are some factors that contribute to this disproportional representation? Students from diverse backgrounds, particularly students who are of African American and Latino. There are many factors that contribute to the disproportional representation of students from diverse backgrounds, particularly students who are African American or Latino. According to the Minority Representation in Special Education study, disproportional representation of students has many different issues that connect to this topic in special education. The first factor is the lack of opportunity in general education classrooms. Minority students are not receiving the same opportunities to be in the higher level classes like their peers. This causes them to be placed in special education track. The next factor is in regards to linguistic backgrounds. Students who should be identified as English language learners are being placed in special education. A third factor is past experiences with racism. This hinders the correct placement of minority students as well. A fourth factor is school and community demographics. Socioeconomic is an issue when evaluating minorities in the school performance. It also affects their opportunities when in school as well. In the article, Disproportionate Representation of African Americans, it states that African Americans are less likely to have proper health care, or it is made impossible for them to get it due to their socioeconomic status. This causes them to have poor health compared to other students, therefore affecting how they can perform in the classroom. When considering school and community demographics as a factor, it is found that minorities who are living in predominantly white communities are more likely to be overrepresented in special education. With this factor, it is also found that perceptions of the teachers are different when working with different cultures, also causing overrepresentation in the special education group of kids. According to this article, the disproportionate representation of African Americans have experienced racism, which causes students to typically have malicious behavior and depressive behavior. Due to their experiences, it causes these students to sometimes act out in school, which does not help them to be successful in their classroom. Their behavior, due to the racism, is also not considered by their teachers. They are just seen as being trouble students and therefore are placed in a more restrictive classroom settings when they do not really need it, which puts them in a worse position because they are not being educated like they should be just because of their behavior. English language learners are frequently placed in special education as well, simply because there's only a language barrier. They are not provided the correct resources to understand the material that is presented to them, so it's causing them to be placed in special education instead of just having resources to get past their barrier of not knowing the English language as well. They are not provided the correct resources to understand the material that is presented to them for their classes. When they are not provided these resources, they fail at assignments just because they did not understand the language. If they received the proper resources to translate and understand what is expected of them, they'd be able to perform at the same level as their peers who know English as their first language. In all, we can see that overrepresentation has a lot to do with what people think or assume. More time and resources need to be provided to assist all cultures and people. This will allow them to be successful and show their capabilities when they're in the classroom.